Had he been caught, as others working in the state-owned bakery had been, he would have been sent to the gulag. They always said they wanted our lives to be better than theirs. Of all the gambles they'd ever taken, surely that must have been their easiest bet. But I didn't know enough to appreciate that then. When it came time to college, I happily traveled 800 miles away to go be an intellectual at University of Chicago and learn very important things. And after graduation, I found a job back home as an editorial assistant making $12,000 a year and lived in the only place I could afford, back in Brooklyn with my parents. After a year of that, I decided to apply to graduate programs in clinical psychology. I felt as if I already had years of training. My final break with the house on Crash Corner came 3 weeks before my GRE exams. My fights with my mother had grown blistering while I studied night and day. One morning she was trying to wheedle money out of my father for bingo or playing the numbers or OTB or who knows what, again. "Will you leave him alone already?" I screamed. "Mindy, it's not your business. One day you'll be married and you'll take money from your husband too." "No, I am not a prostitute. I will not marry a man so I can take his money." "So I'm a prostitute?" She smacked me hard on the arm. It was a first. I'd seen her smack Harry many times, but me never. "You know," she said through a cold stare, "not only do I not love you, but I never even liked you." I was stunned. Part of me was thinking, bullshit, she loves me. But it was the other part that did me in. Of course she never liked me. Every aspect of my personality was a walking slap in the face to her. From the clothes I wore, I must have had the only mother on Flatlands Avenue who wished my skirts were shorter, my blouses tighter, and my heels higher, to the way I used who and whom correctly. This time I left for good, not waiting for even the exam. I moved in with my boyfriend Rob and never looked back. I should say Rob and I celebrated our 23rd anniversary last Thursday. Same guy. Now I don't have to worry about not going on Oprah, because that's what it is. And then here I was, with my husband and child in my Emerald City, with that old pathetic feeling once again. All those accomplishments I thought I'd racked up lay limp in my memory. And here was my mother offering to help like any bubba who would jump at the chance to take care of her amical. No fucking way. Instead, a part-time doula gave way to a part-time babysitter who turned into a full-time babysitter. Every night I counted the minutes until she showed up. 8 a.m. sharp. 6 hours and 20 minutes. 2 hours and 31 minutes. 40 minutes. 15 minutes. Still, I felt lost. There were another 16 hours a day to contend with after all. Then one day, terror. The sitter wasn't coming at all. "You want I should help you, maybe?" my mother asked over the phone. Oh God, I thought, but I felt too desperate to refuse help from anyone. "Yeah, Ma, thanks." "I'll show you, it's easy. Just put him in the carriage." "I tried that already, Ma, it didn't work." "You'll see, I'll show you. You'll get some sleep." I knew it wouldn't help, but I was grateful even for the gesture. When she came, I'd been walking Max for more than 2 hours straight, back and forth, down the hall, through the living room, into the dining room, through the kitchen, back in the hallway, the same circuit over and over again. We were both in tears by the time she appeared. "Oy vey, you looked terrible." "Thanks, Ma, that's just what I wanted to hear." "Look, it's easy, see? Just do like this." She took him out of my arms. His body jerked immediately and he started to scream. Great, now he's screaming again. She put him in the carriage and started to jerk it forward by the handle. She was anything but gentle. "Stop it, Ma, you'll break his..." But he was already quiet. She was pushing the carriage hard back and forth in the hallway. Her pushes were sharper than mine, her rhythm faster. When I took over, the crying started up again. She showed me her rhythm and the crying slowed to a stop. I learned to shut up and push it her way. Then she took him out for a walk so that I could get some sleep. Sorta. Once outside, she called repeatedly. Where I can get some falafel was the reason for the first one. Is laryngitis like a cold in the throat? Do I sound funny to you? Was the next. When she called again to ask if there was anything she could do for me while she was out, I had my opening. Yeah. Stop calling me, I yelled, yanking the cord out of the base of the phone. She'd taken a bus and 2 trains to come help me, quieted down my screaming infant, and I yelled at her for doing something she couldn't help. Then an image popped into my head that wouldn't leave me for a very long time. An image of a foreign and damaged young woman who did not speak the language, with a crying infant, a husband who thought babies were women's work, and a mother thousands of miles away. No friends, no companions, no doulas or babysitters, nothing to help her but the sheer force of her instinct to survive. I was ashamed by how stingy I'd been, the empathy I had for patients, the pity I'd showered on myself. I never could muster up for her, a woman who had suffered so much and who had so much more to offer than I'd been willing to admit. And besides all that, there really were things she was a lot more competent at than I. Very important things. She was more than competent. She was reliable. The person we relied on more than anyone else besides the babysitter. Later, when I started working at a hospital, if the sitter couldn't make it, my mother woke up at 5 in the morning so she could babysit for her Mexican. Max giggled at the mere sight of her, stretching out toward her with his entire body from the moment she came into view. She even started babysitting every weekend so Rob and I could spend some time together. I could appreciate her even as I remained wary of her, and I imagine she did the same with me. It didn't matter that we still argued all the time. A few months later, my mother was visiting one morning. I was getting dressed in the bedroom when she called me out to the living room. "Come here, give a kick, give a kick. Come quickly, take a look, take a look." For weeks, Rob had thought she was actually instructing him to kick his child in accordance with some obscure Eastern European ritual. "What is it? What happened?" I yelled, pulling my sweater over my head as I came running. "Look, I'm making peekaboo." "That's why you screamed for me? Because you're making peekaboo?" "No, look. When I make peekaboo before, Maxilla liked it because he was surprised when I pulled the hands away. But look now." She kneeled in front of Max and started to cover her face with her hands in the classic pre-peekaboo pose. When he started to giggle with his whole body, as babies do. "See? Now he starts to laugh before I make with the hands. He used to like it only after I make peekaboo, but now he laughs because he expects it. It shows he understands more. He knows what I do next. Look how excited. Give a kick." And right on cue, Max displayed the next stage of object permanence for his grandmother. She giggled more than he did. "Maybe I'm not explaining it so good." "No, Ma, I think you explained it just fine." Thank you.